Hey there, gents. Welcome back to another episode of the Wolf and Iron Podcast. You're tuning in to a Truck Talk Thursday episode, and I'm glad to be talking to you guys. I don't know what it's like on your Thursday, but today it is warm and just about perfect outside. The spring has finally happened here in North Carolina, and even though we keep getting into a little dip into the cold here a bit, and then to some hot days, for the most part, we've got several days ahead where it's going to be really nice. So hopefully you guys are experiencing something like that in your neck of the woods, and it's not a dreary mess outside. If you're tuning in for to the Wolf and Iron Podcast for the first time, let me just say welcome to the Truck Talk Thursday episodes. This is something a little different than I do. I decided just to talk to you guys a little bit off the cuff, just a simple recording, no big intro, no outro, no salesy things happening. Not a lot of extra info going on here, except for just me just talking to you guys, because it's just an opportunity for real conversation to take place. And I'm actually stopping now so I don't hit a squirrel. These kinds of things, get away, animal. These kinds of things are the kind of stuff you won't get in a normal podcast episode. Well, today I want to talk to you guys about something quite manly related to marriage. And this is a challenging subject, because I know a lot of guys, especially in the millennial kind of generation, that they want to get married. Man, they want to settle down, and they're just having a hard time going about it. I've known a lot of Christian young men who are just absolutely fantastic young guys that were, I've known them since they were kids, basically. Now they've grown up and they're in their 20s, and they're having a hard time kind of settling down, finding a lady, figuring out when the right time is, and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that I hear happening across the board, whether you're a Christian or not Christian, is this idea, this sort of mindset that you've got to get your ducks in a row before you strike out and get married. I've heard it said as, you've got to get a life before you get a wife. Maybe you guys are in tune with something like this as well. You want to graduate from college, you want to have a career, you want to start making some money, and then it becomes, I need to have a little bit of money saved up. And, do I want kids now? Do I not want kids now? Maybe I should wait until I'm closer to the age where I would want to have kids. And so on it goes, with excuse after excuse. And frankly, guys, if you're not picking up a lady in or around your college days, it becomes harder. And just because of our time in which we live, it becomes more and more of a challenge just to meet people in person and get to know them. Plus, there are a lot of distractions as well, as far as just doing other things with your time in life, right? So back in the day, when I say back in the day, I'm talking even basically before the internet. People had things to do other than get married, but still, chasing ladies was a big part of the thing. That was a big part of your day. That's what you looked forward to. And settling down and having a family was really the thing that you look forward to doing. Spending actual time with another human being in your life really meant something. And now we have this sort of virtual stuff that happens, and it kind of gets in the way of real relationships. Plus, there's a lot of confusion amongst the sexes about what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman, what a woman wants with her life, what a man wants with his life. It's not as cut and dry as it used to be. And some good things about that, some bad things about that. But anyhow, it's not helping the situation. But here's what I want to say today, is I want to say, stop waiting around for everything to line up until you pull the trigger, or before you get married. Stop waiting for the excuses of, you've got to get your bank account right, or you've got to graduate from college, or you've got to figure out what your career path is, or you've got to wait until you're at the age when you want to have kids before you get married, because that's stupid. I'll tell you why it's stupid. It sounds good, right? It sounds very logical, and it makes a lot of sense. But this is not, as a man, speaking, this is not how we operate. You're really looking for to feel like you're in a season of life that you've grown up and are ready for marriage. You're ready for that kind of commitment. The challenge here is that men don't usually experience growth basically when we just set out to grow ourselves for the sake of ourselves. As in, I've done a podcast, hopefully by this point, on leadership and how I think men ought to be, how they ought to pursue leadership roles before they're ready. And the reason I say that is because nothing motivates a guy to be a leader, if he has it in his heart to be a leader, like knowing that there are other people that are counting on him. I've never in my life seen a guy go out and pursue excellence for his own sake, in the same way that I've seen it as when you put him in a position of leadership and you say, I'm counting on you and other people are counting on you to be the best you can be, to make the right decisions, to teach well, to lead well, and so on. And marriage is much the same way. There are certain things that you're never going to be ready for. Fatherhood would be another example of that. There's things that you're not ever going to be ready for until you get put in a position that it just forces you to be ready for those things. Now, I think you can do some upfront work. You should definitely be learning about how to be a husband, how to live with a wife and a woman. There are a lot of aspects and things, information that you can take in. But you're not going to feel equipped and ready for it until the day comes. And the day is when you say, I'm going to settle down and I'm going to have a family. And you begin to take on that responsibility willingly. That's when real change begins to happen, guys. So when you put yourself in the position of being a husband, voluntarily, not waiting around for it, something changes. And any guy will tell you this, that especially it changes after you have kids. But there's something that even happens, after the wedding day. And I'm not just talking about sex. That happens too. But let's be realistic. That's probably happening already. Not that I condone it, but, it is what it is. But there's something that happens to a man in his mind, that when he realizes that he's part of this new thing called a family. And especially when he begins to understand that he's the head of that family. This doesn't always sink in for newlyweds. A lot of guys kind of go on thinking that, there's her and then there's me. And now we're just living together under the marital kind of bounds and stuff like that. We're official, that kind of stuff. But when you really begin to think about yourself as being the head of the home and being the leader, and really creating an environment in which children can come along and be raised in and that kind of stuff, it changes you. And you really begin to take marriage seriously. You begin to take your role as an example setter and a leader for your family seriously. And so, guys, I'm telling you, don't wait around for the moment to happen, because you're going to miss a lot of opportunities to meet that girl. Not only that, but you're going to miss a lot of years of excellent growth that will take place because you feel as you ought to feel as a leader. I remember that I got married when I was 18, and I've said this before, but I was an idiot for about 10 years. And I was a decent provider, but I didn't really get it. I didn't really get marriage for the most part. There's a lot of things about being a man I didn't get. But by the time I hit my late 20s and certainly in my early 30s, I had experiences and I had understandings of things that a lot of guys who were just kind of settling down in their 30s wouldn't get for another 10 or 15 years. I was relating more to guys that were in their 40s and 50s than I was guys that were in their 20s and 30s, just because of life experiences. And it gave me a lot of clarity kind of early on about what it was that I wanted to do with my life, what I really valued, the things that meant something to me. And it also put me in a position to have kids that were, like now I just turned 40. I've got a son who's in college, is 18. I've got another one that's at home still. He's 15 at the recording of this. And, so my kids are young, and I'm a young guy. That means I most likely will have young grandkids and so on. And so it just sets things up to where I'm a young guy with some understanding of what it is that I want to do with the rest of my life at the age of 40, when I still got, hopefully another half of a life left, right? And maybe more than that, to accomplish goals and to do stuff. So I think it's a really good position to be in. You don't have to be an idiot when you get married. If you do your work up front and you listen to podcasts like this and you read books and you take it seriously. But there's a lot of growth that can only take place when a man is put in a position to lead and to be the iron for other people. It's really what it's all about, guys. We grow as men, we feed the wolf so that we can turn around and be the iron for other people who need us. All right, that's all I got for today. I'd love to hear your feedback on this. Thanks for checking out another Truck Talk Thursday. Talk to you guys later.